At the outset, let me thank the ELSA executive for a very apt topic during this COVID pandemic about the training of MIS and the role of India and what Indian societies have done for training surgeons during this COVID pandemic. MIS training basically is an amalgamation of surgical knowledge, clinical judgment, and technical competency. There were several major fears regarding surgical practice during COVID pandemic, including fears surrounding clinical practice in a hospital, fear regarding safety for patients, healthcare personnel, and their family, was fear regarding treatment, choosing whom and when and how to operate, and there was fear regarding type of surgery, minimally invasive versus open, and there was fear of surgical smoke, risk of viral transmission while handling the smoke. This translated to training limitations in the form of COVID scare amongst the resident junior surgeons, COVID morbidity, mortality, the changing guidelines that have been coming, which have dynamically changed during the entire pandemic, reorganizing the hospital resources, healthcare workers getting inflicted by COVID. Obviously, there were decreasing volumes of elective surgical procedures, and in many centers, senior surgeons started to opt away from active surgical practice. The training, basically, it all depends on the guidance and implementation, which depends on institutional guidelines, the society guidelines, and maybe training is partly dictated by the industry, which supports a lot of training programs in current clinic. The surgical training basically is constitutes of triage, prioritizing our patient, and obviously executing this entire concept of surgical procedure. Now, this has been a dynamic process during COVID pandemic, and it all varied depending on the place, depending on the amount, the phase of the epidemic and the phase of the pandemic during the last 2 years of period. This is the COVID graph in India, which the COVID spiked during April to July last year. And obviously the surgical load paralleled with this, and absolutely the surgical load dipped during the peak of the COVID pandemic, affecting the minimally invasive surgical training program. Now we talk about institutional guidelines and society guidelines. These indicate procedures to be trained, but they do not indicate the number of procedures that have to be trained during this specific period of time. So MIS training during COVID times was it's almost like trying to find water in a desert, and the MIS training was limited with a lot of limitations, and because of the constrained resources. Now, if you re-look at the training concept of the triage, prioritizing and executing it, actually, the surgical scheduling has to be done depending on the hospital burden of COVID and the resources, which is variable from center to center. The prioritizing has to be done depending on the cases which can be postponed, which cannot be postponed, balancing the risk between the disease progression, viral exposure, and obviously you have to have a separate line through which these MIS patients have to be shifted to the OR and to the post-operative ward, which requires a total reorganization and which required a total reorganization in the hospital. We had some new learnings actually during the entire pandemic. You can see this during the phase when the numbers were increasing. Obviously, the resources were prioritized to COVID. And when the numbers were decreasing, that was the time it was a positive thing for training, surgical training, be it be open or MIS. Likewise, when the pandemic was rising, the morbidity and mortality was increasing basically because of the cytokine storm. And we also realized that if we take up this patient during the decreasing trend of the cytokine storm, the morbidity, mortality obviously decreases. So absolutely new learnings during COVID times. There were major fears regarding the surgical practice and also MIS training during the initial part of the pandemic, basically because the initial guidelines suggested open surgery versus minimally invasive surgery. And we had our own publications from India which asked the validity of practicing open surgery versus minimally invasive surgery. So because of this fear of the smoke and the viral transmission, several modifications were done, suggested by guidelines from across the globe, including a double valve trocar, low pressure pneumoperitoneum, low energy device settings, smoke filtration and evacuation systems, and surgery being performed by senior surgeons with a limited team, again limiting the training of the people and use of personal protective equipment. But subsequently, we all realized that over the subsequent guidelines which came in, which showed that conventional laparoscopy can be done safely if you take adequate precautions, and it is superior to conventional open surgery that is being practiced, and we have all the advantages of minimally invasive surgery. So the changing recommendations have seen a research of MIS and also training of MIS in our country. The two most feared diagnoses with the dreaded C word are COVID and cancer. Obviously, you know there is a lot of interaction and interplay between COVID and cancer because COVID was increasing the morbidity and mortality. Cancer, if you delay the diagnosis treatment, obviously increases the mortality and morbidity. We have our own publication that we came in from all the institutions across the country, wherein we divided these patients based on cancer patients with regular case services, cancer patients with new medical needs, and COVID-19 suspected cancer patients. And based on these things, we divided these patients as emergent and non-emergent procedures. Emergents obviously required to operate on priority without any delay. The non-emergent patients were assessed and they were categorized depending on the chances of cure, risk of progression, and availability of effective non-surgical approach. Based on these, they were prioritized as high, medium, low patient, and then subsequently prioritized and taken for surgical procedure. We have also given several recommendations to our societies and the government regarding modification of infrastructure and processes, management of staff and patients, strict screening and triage strategies, establishment and frequent updating of protocols coming in from across the globe, and clinical recommendations and infection preventive strategies. The appointments of patients on follow-up should be managed through telemedicine and web consultation. This has decreased the number of patients coming to the hospital. All treatment decisions making should follow the standard guidelines, and we had codes in every hospital which dictated these guidelines. And informed consenting process must include recent data about the risk and benefits of treatment in context of the COVID patient. So complying with the guidelines limitations that we had some solace to minimally invasive training with some positives and negatives regarding surgical knowledge, clinical judgment, and technical competency. And these limited resources were best utilized during the COVID pandemic. This is a beautiful paper that came in from one of our trainees who had shown the positive and the negative impact of various parameters that follow in during clinical practice. The positive impact on knowledge was there was significant decrease in the working hours per week of a surgical resident. The average working hours decreased dramatically. Now, as the time for reading of the surgical residency is often constrained by the decreasing hours, provided a unique opportunity to spend more time in reading, particularly for a final year resident training program. Apart from reading books, digital platform and virtual classes involved in seminars and journal clubs, this filled up a huge gap of interactive learning. Now we have a beautiful paper that showed that these journal clubs and web-based training has had a very positive impact on training residents during this period. The negative impact obviously was the duty hours became more strenuous with the use of personal protective equipment. Compounding with this, the uncertainty in examination process has also affected their thought process. The biggest thing that has happened during COVID time were the surgical trainees who are posted in the COVID wards. It provided them an adequate opportunity to understand the concepts of infectious medicine, sepsis management, and critical care. And they also understood the importance of multidisciplinary team interactions with various other specialties which have improved the overall morbidity and mortality in these patients. As far as the clinical judgment is concerned, what is the negative impact of the clinical judgment? Suspension of ward teaching rundowns in most places. The surgical ward training suffered the most. This is particularly true of the first year surgical trainee who learns mostly with the resident-resident interaction during the ward management, and the virtual grand round and case discussions by faculties ensure an uninterrupted learning during critical care. This was obviously practiced in medical centers. The positive impact of technical competency. Although hands-on training and surgical exposure of surgical residents decreased phenomenally, the increased time of reading and use of web-based smart learning applications could have had some positive impact on this. Now, our own data from our Things Institute, which shows a dramatic decrease in the number of patients and MIs during this COVID pandemic, and we had following the protocols, we could train these people, and the morbidity mortality was very less. But surprisingly, you can see this. What has also affected the MIS training was the significant number of surgical staff who got infected with COVID-19 symptoms. As far as technical competencies, the negative impact was MIS suffered a loss. We know that technical training affected a lot, and there are a lot of surveys which showed that there is a dramatic decrease in the technical competency. But the need of the hour was the digital platforms and web-based technology, which have come as some relief to surgical training. Virtual simulators have become a big thing for people to train those surgical trainees. And besides simulator training, digital modes such as video libraries, commentaries on surgical procedures, tips and tricks by experts which have been coming from across the globe seem to have helped these residents a lot. The Zoom boom or the surge in the webinars has had a wider exposure and interaction of these trainees with experts from across the globe. Telementoring has the other thing that has become a big thing during pandemic, which has also helped our surgical training, which has provided real-time extension of providing some sort of surgical advices for people practicing in remote countries, remote states. It allowed young surgeons a safety net and also built a sort of confidence among the surgeons that they can operate under the supervision of previous surgeons who are telementoring them. Basically, it's a low-cost module, and the benefits seem to be potentially very large. And this seems to be one thing which is very important. And ELSA has also taken up this in a big way to mentor trainees across the globe. The greater exposure to critical care has made them better understand the entire concept of critical care management. The better care and empathy that they're shown to the COVID patient should translate into better minimally invasive surgeons of the future. We from our own country have shown that laparoscopy remains a preferred surgical approach for most surgical indications if you follow the standard protocols and switch from open to MIS. And this is a beautiful thing, what has a survey that was done from India. It was conducted during pandemic among various centers involving almost 250 MIS surgeons. 30% surgeons continued to use MIS during this pandemic. They've all complied to the guidelines that have been coming, which have been dynamically changing, and more than 50% of them complied with these guidelines that came in. And if you see this, there is a proportional reduction in overall elective surgeries and MIS during this period. But surprisingly, as I told you, almost more than 50% of them started using more than 6 recommendations that have been coming up, which have been dynamically changing for MIS. So MIS surgeons in India have adapted within a short time to the challenge of the pandemic by embracing the preoperative testing, the PPE, and the new technologies, which continued to change the patient care. And we also know, though it has decreased, 30% of the surgeons continue to do MIS, and the training also continued from various departments. Innovations and low-cost indigenous customizations were the need of hour in the countries like us, and it has boomed. And we have had several things like this. We had simulator trainings that came in a big way, and it also helped in assessing their training skills. So whatever time we had, we started training them in simulators. It was a big thing. So the time that they had in the wards, other than the COVID duties, they've utilized it very aptly, and it has shown that it has significantly impacted. And we started training, and when these MI surgeons got back to clinical practice, with the research of the cases that are happening now, I do not see any difference in their technical skills, but I think they are more empathetic to the patients than today. The biggest thing that has happened was several modifications that happened, including the aerosol dispensing that have come to decrease the aerosol spray in the theaters, decreasing the transmission of the viral load. And also, people had some innovative ideas. This is a thing from my own resident who has devised this beautiful training module, which is absolutely very, very good thing for MIS, which incorporated a basic box. You can see that, and he has put his iPad on that, which can be used as a camera to directly visualize and do these procedures, record, and it can always be connected to your TV monitor to see the thing. I mean, I think it's a phenomenal innovation from our junior surgeon who has adapted and who has trained several of our residents on this model during this COVID pandemic. And our India feels that it is no more an underdeveloped country. Now they have come up with a construction of a simple quality appraisal tool for rapid review of laparoscopic surgery guidelines during COVID pandemic. And they feel that the acronym EMERGE also coincides with the ambitions of emerging economies as countries from the global south aspire to be called, rather than be called as low middle income countries or developing countries. The future training, actually qualifying examinations in various specialties have been postponed globally. This had a demoralizing impact on trainees, particularly in the field of MIS, which often involves fellowship courses. The delay in examination process is associated with new online format, not only came as a sudden new normal examination pattern for the resident, but also led to reformatting of dates of various fellowships. But thankfully, various international guide societies have changed their examination dates also. So to conclude, COVID pandemic has significant impact on surgical practice and MIS training. Surgical community needs to accept the new reality. Skill training affected because of decreasing surgical volumes. Intensive critical care management skills improved among the MIS surgeons. Online webinar boom helped update or interact with global colleagues and mentors. Tele-mentoring provided safety net and helped build confidence among training surgeons. Simulation training was revisited. Innovations multiplied during this COVID pandemic. Training guidelines need to be modified. And now I think we need to be more specific as to the number of patients, number of procedures these trainees should be doing. So MIS during COVID times, they had better skills of critical care. COVID learning has changed the entire thinking of the junior surgeons. And with the research of surgical volumes that we are seeing now after the initial pandemic, I personally feel that they would become better MIS surgeons. This is a beautiful quote by one of the trainees from India, who goes on to say that as we strive our way in these times of fear and uncertainty, a final year resident is jeopardized with the issues of surgical competency, timely completion of the academic course, and the future training job opportunity. However, I still feel hopeful that as humankind always trumped, this too shall pass. In the meantime, I just remembered the following lines of British visionary artist Vivian Green, who says, "Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain." So whatever minimal resources we had, we passed it on to the minimally invasive surgical training program. Though the volumes affected their technical competency, but they had other ways and means to learn and keep themselves updated with the training modalities. And I'm sure COVID has made better minimally invasive surgeons as regards competence and also as regards empathy towards patients who were going through troubled times during this COVID pandemic. Thank you so much once again for the patient hearing.